Faith is not found. A lot of times people will use that phrase, I found faith. Faith is not somewhere and you go and find it. It's not like Pokemon where you have the app open and you walk around so nope, nobody here's playing Pokemon, just me. Okay. Faith is built. It's built. It's built upon day in and day out. It's more time in God's word. It's more time in his presence. It's more time exercising your faith in a real world. It's built slowly over time. That's why we talk about steps here all the time. And you know, faith a lot of times can be built in two ways. It can be built, it's sort of like barbecue, if you'll let me. That's one of my favorite things in the world. My dad's family is from Georgia, and so barbecue holds a real dear place in my heart. My doctor might actually say it actually has a place in my heart. But there's two ways to cook barbecue, right? Low and slow, which is the preferred method. You're probably not going to win any sort of barbecue championship unless you're doing it low and slow. 200 degrees, like 12 hours. You know, you let all the fat melt out of it, and when it comes out, it's tender and ready to go, right? But if you watch like cooking shows, they are under a time constraint. A lot of times they're cooking something that should take 10 to 12 hours to make, but they're cooking it in an hour or 2 hours. And the way that they overcome doing something low and slow is they use a special device called a pressure cooker. Now, I'm terrified of what a pressure cooker could do. It actually literally can be like a bomb. So I'm not telling you to go home and use one. Like I think professionals probably should use these things. But they like put the meat in there and they close it and then they put it on heat and it pressurizes, and the pressure and the heat then cause the piece of meat to be cooked. What should take like 10 to 12 hours is done like in an hour or two. There's really two ways that you can cook it. You can fake it by throwing it into the pressure cooker and allow the heat and the pressure to really cook that meat, or you can do it the way it's intended, the best way, God's way. Low and slow. Here's the thing. God actually uses both of those methods in our lives to tenderize our hearts. He would prefer low and slow in all of our lives. He would prefer us daily spending time with him, getting into his word, being with him, allowing him to work on us. And occasionally he allows us to go into the pressure cooker, to have our faith take a big step like Daniel's did here. The thing is, Daniel was prepared for that pressure cooker because he had done low and slow for a long period of time. He had prepared for that moment of pressure, that moment when the heat was on. He was ready for it. He was tender. He was able to know what God wanted him to do. He was ready to listen to God's Spirit in his life. He was ready to stand in public because of what he did in private. He was prepared for the unforeseen in moments that no one could ever see.